Welcome to this deep dive. Today, we're getting right into something I know a lot of you probably think about. How do some people actually get rich? Like, really build wealth?
hmm
We're skipping the whole win the lottery fantasy and digging into, the real practical strategies, the things that seem to separate people who build wealth from those who, well, don't.
Exactly. And we've been looking closely at insights from the Money Mindset show. And what's really striking is how certain patterns just keep coming up. Essentially, five core pillars that seem to be the foundation.
5 pillars. Okay.
Yeah, and our mission today is basically to unpack those, break them down so they're clear, actionable things you can actually think about applying.
All right, let's do it. So pillar number one is mindset. And this one, honestly, it really jumped out at me. It's not just about the money itself, but how you think about money.
Right. It's fundamental. The source highlights this difference. It seems subtle, but it's huge. When faced with something they want, lots of people think, oh, I can't afford that. End of story.
Yeah, that's the default for many.
But the mindset shift they talk about is asking, okay, how can I afford this? It immediately flips the switch, doesn't it?
Yeah.
From limitation to problem solving, possibility.
That's a really simple but powerful change. Like you said, it stops being a brick wall and becomes a question to answer, a puzzle.
Hmm.
And the source also talks about just genuinely believing it's possible for you. Like, if you don't fundamentally believe you can become wealthy, you're kind of setting yourself up to fail before you even start, right?
Absolutely. It's like you're handicapping yourself from the get-go. And this ties directly into what they call a scarcity mindset, always focusing on what's missing, what you don't have.
Right. That feeling of not enough.
And operating from that place makes it incredibly hard to even see opportunities, let alone grab them.
No.
So overcoming that ingrained sense of lack is, what's step one?
Yeah.
Foundational.
It makes sense. And they also mentioned who you hang around with, doesn't it? Surrounding yourself with people who have that growth mindset.
Oh, definitely. The influence of your environment. If you're constantly around people saying, that's impossible, or only lucky people get rich, it's tough to maintain your own positive focus.
Yeah, it drags you down.
But being around people who see possibilities, who are trying things, learning,
Mhm.
it's contagious in a good way. It can spark those aha moments without feeling, forced or overly rah-rah.
Okay, so get the mind right first. That makes a lot of sense. Which brings us neatly to pillar two. Income is king, but not just one. This really resonated because, the standard path is just the one job, the one salary.
hmm And that's a key distinction the source makes. A salary is great for stability, sure, but it often has a built-in ceiling. It limits how much wealth you can realistically build just from that alone.
Right.
What you see consistently with wealthier individuals, according to the source, is multiple streams of income. They aren't just relying on that single paycheck.
Okay, so what kind of things are we talking about?
Well, the examples given range quite a bit. Things like side hustles, maybe starting a small online store, investing, which we'll get to, or even creating and selling digital products like courses or ebooks. It opens up your thinking beyond just trading time for money in a job.
That's a big mental shift, isn't it? From just being an employee to thinking more like a creator or an owner.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's about building things, assets, systems that can generate income potentially more passively, or at least from different directions. You're creating options, basically,
Right.
reducing dependency.
And it doesn't have to be some massive undertaking right away, does it?
No, not at all. The source actually emphasizes starting small. Leverage skills you already have. Maybe you're good at writing or a graphic design or, I don't know, fixing things.
We're baking amazing cookies.
Exactly. Offering that skill freelance, maybe teaching it online, creating a small digital guide. Those are all valid starting points. It's about that first step to bring money in from somewhere other than your main job.
So the barrier to entry isn't necessarily huge capital. It's more about identifying a skill or value you can offer.
Precisely. It's less about needing a giant audience right off the bat and more about finding a need and offering a solution.
Mhm.
Even if it's niche, it prompts that question, what skills do you have that maybe you haven't thought of as an income source?
Interesting. Okay, so mindset fixed, thinking about multiple income streams. Pillar three is save smart, invest smarter. Now, saving, everyone knows that's important, but this pillar makes a critical distinction.
Yes, saving is crucial. It gives you that buffer, that security. But the point the source really hammers home is that saving alone generally won't make you wealthy.
Why not, if you save enough?
Well, think about inflation. The cash you just leave sitting in a savings account, it's actually losing value over time. Its purchasing power shrinks.
Ah, Right, because the price of everything else goes up, so your saved money buys less later.
Exactly. It's being silently eroded. So your money needs to be working for you, growing faster than inflation, ideally, not just sitting there.
Okay, so how do we do that? What's the invest smarter part?
The source suggests a pretty clear two-step approach. First, absolutely build that emergency fund. Get that safety net sorted, say, 3 to 6 months of essential living expenses. That's non-negotiable for resilience.
Gotcha. Safety first.
But then, the crucial second step is to start investing the money you save beyond that emergency fund, putting it into assets that have the potential to grow.
Like what, for example?
They mentioned things like ETFs, exchange-traded funds. Those are good for diversification because they hold lots of different stocks. Or potentially real estate, though that's a bigger step. Or even reinvesting in your own side business if it's showing promise.
And the key is starting. When?
As early as possible.
Absolutely.
Seriously, they really stress this. It's all about harnessing the power of compounding.
Right, where your returns start earning their own returns.
Precisely. The longer your money has to grow, the more dramatic that effect becomes. Time is your biggest ally in investing. Even small amounts invested early can grow significantly over decades.
So the message is, build the cushion, then get started investing, even if it's small, sooner rather than later.
That's the gist of it. Don't just let your savings sit there losing value after you've got your emergency fund covered. Make it work.
Okay. Moving right along to pillar number 4. Create value, get paid. I like how direct this one is. Seems pretty fundamental.
It really gets down to the basic mechanics of, well, earning money in an economy. The source puts it plainly. Your financial rewards tend to be directly linked to the value you provide to other people.
So solve bigger problems, get paid more, create something people really want.
Essentially, yes. It's about shifting focus from just, say, hours worked to the impact you're having, the solutions you're offering.
Yeah.
Are you making someone's life easier, better, more entertaining? Are you solving a pain point? That's where the value lies.
And they also bring up personal branding here, which I thought was interesting, even if you're not technically selling anything yet.
It's about the value of your presence, your reputation, the message you put out there, how you show up professionally online or offline. It's all part of the perceived value you offer, even indirectly. It builds trust and visibility.
Okay, so what skills help with creating and showing that value?
They highlight a few key ones. Things like storytelling, being able to communicate your value effectively, building that personal brand we mentioned, marketing, obviously making sure people know what you offer, and sales.
Sales.
Yeah.
That word makes some people nervous.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But the source reframes it really helpfully. Think of sales not as pushy tactics, but as problem solving. You identify someone's need or problem and you offer your solution. It's about helping, not manipulating.
That's a much better way to look at it, helping people get what they need.
Exactly. And they offer this neat little equation. Value multiplied by visibility equals wealth.
Value times visibility.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah. You need both. You can have the most valuable thing in the world, but if nobody sees it and knows about it,
Yeah.
it's hard to get compensated. And equally, lots of visibility with little real value isn't sustainable either. You need both working together.
Makes sense. Create something good and make sure people know about it. Got it. All right, final pillar, number 5. Discipline, risk, and consistency.
Yeah.
This feels like the reality check.
It definitely brings things back down to earth. The source is clear. This isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. Building real, lasting wealth takes effort. It takes work.
No magic wands, then.
Afraid not. It requires discipline managing your finances, sticking to your plan. It requires taking calculated risks. Investing always involves some risk. Starting a business involves risk.
Yeah.
And maybe most importantly, it requires consistency.
Consistency. Showing up day after day.
Yeah. Those small, steady actions. They give examples like maybe waking up a bit earlier to work on your side project, or dedicating time each day to learning about finance or your industry, sticking to your saving and investing plan month after month. It's those habits stacked over time.
It's the compounding effect again, but for actions, not just money.
Exactly. And it's crucial to understand that setbacks will happen. You'll make mistakes. Investments might go down sometimes. A business idea might not work out.
Failure is part of the process.
Definitely. The source emphasizes this idea of failing forward. Learn from it. Adjust your approach. Don't let it stop you. The key is resilience.
I like the final thought on this pillar, too. Remember, you only have to be right once.
Yeah, That's quite encouraging, isn't it? It means that despite the inevitable bumps in the road, one really good investment, one successful business venture, that one key decision, it can make a massive difference in the long run.
So perseverance pays off. Keep learning, keep trying, stay consistent.
That seems to be the core message there. It's about staying in the game long enough for those opportunities and your consistent efforts to really bear fruit.
Okay, so pulling it all together, these 5 pillars, it really paints a picture, doesn't it? That becoming wealthy isn't just luck or magic. It's more like a result of specific ways of thinking and acting.
Right, it's a combination. Fix your mindset, build those multiple income streams, save and invest smartly, focus on creating real value, and then have the discipline and consistency to stick with it.
Mindset, income, investing, value, consistency.
It's a framework, really, shifting the focus from hoping for a windfall to actually building something sustainable through deliberate strategy and effort.
So for everyone listening, our final thought today is this. As you heard these 5 pillars, which one? Which one really jumped out at you? Which one feels most relevant to where you are right now?
Mhm.
Is it shifting your mindset, starting to think about a side income, getting serious about investing, focusing on the value you create, or building that discipline? Where's your biggest opportunity for maybe a small change today?
Yeah, what's one tiny step you could take, even just exploring one of these areas further
Yeah.
that relates specifically to your situation, your skills, your goals?
Because that's where it starts, right? Not with trying to do everything at once, but with identifying that next logical step and actually taking it, that personal reflection, that first small action. That's how the real change begins.